Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are your hosts. Movie Club is a show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it, just like a book club. On today's show, we are covering the mafia drama, The Godfather. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1972, The Godfather was directed by Francis Ford Coppola and stars Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, and James Caan. Spanning the years 1945 to 1955, it's a chronicle of the fictional Italian-American Corleone crime family. When organized crime family patriarch Vito Corleone barely survives an attempt on his life, his youngest son Michael steps in to take care of the would-be killers, launching a campaign of bloody revenge. It is currently ranked 2 on IMDb's top 50 and has a 4.6 on Letterboxd and is ranked 10 on its top 250. It was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Original Score, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, Best Costume Design, Best Supporting Actor for 3 actors for Al Pacino, James Caan, and Robert Duvall, and Best Director. It won 3 Academy Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor for Marlon Brando, and Best Picture. Before we dive into this and spoil everything about the movie and what we think about it, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. We're going to be talking about everything that happens in this movie, so don't get upset at us for spoiling a movie that's been out for over 50 years at this point. Just go and watch it. We're both going to tell you to go and watch it. But when you're done, come back here, see what we have to say, and then stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what movie we're covering next week, because it shouldn't be a surprise what we're doing next week if you know anything about the placement of movies on top 250 lists. Alrighty, Kevin, so we're on to The Godfather, which was my pick this week.
Yes, correct.
Because I wanted you to watch it. Pure and simple, and I hadn't seen this in probably about 7-8 years, maybe 10. So it's been a while since I've actually watched the movie, and I was just very much excited to see what you'd think of it with all the skills that I would say that you've picked up in the last, 50 or so episodes we've done of this now. So I'm very curious to see, obviously you've heard of the movie before seeing it. It's probably one of the most famous movies of all time. But what did you kind of know about it? What were you expecting going in? Tell me about it.
Gotcha. So I will let everybody know, I did watch this movie in about 3 days, just because I had stuff going on. So this was 3-day increments, but the first day I went up to 2 hours. So I only had 55 minutes after that, which is perfectly okay. I kind of wish I would have watched this in all in one sitting because of how good this movie was to me. This is, first of all, I have heard of it, and I know the Godfather, who he was and everything like that, but I was very surprised how he's not in like half of this movie or even more, but he still has such a good presence in the movie that I like how he is the cover. I want to call him the cover art character, because he just has that feeling he's so much bigger, but then his son comes in and kind of takes over, but you still have him in the background, which is really cool to see as well. But this one was great. I wish I would have seen this all in one go. I just had stuff to do and I was getting tired because I wake up early, but it was fantastic. I wish I could have seen this a lot sooner than I had.
Well, I'm very happy to hear it. Because I think it would probably be a crime if one of us came into this show and said that it was bad in any way. It is truly, like, when I think of American contributions to cinema, like, it is in the top 5. Like it is an American masterpiece. This is, you get films that are like testaments to their country's history or to their past, the mythology of a country, right? And this is truly one of them. It is like, it's fictionalized, but the mafia was such a big part of life in those days. And to see it handled so well and so expertly
Mhm.
from a director who really, like, obviously Coppola did a couple of movies before this. I want to go ahead and double check my math on that here. But like, he did like some stuff, and then this was his first like major film, I believe. I could be wrong. You'll have to let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong on that. But like, and just immediately knocks it out of the park.
Yep.
And there are so many reasons for why, and we'll talk about that. But like, this movie is, I mean, at the end of the day, no movie's perfect. Every movie is going to have some issue somewhere, but this is as close as you can get.
I mean, it seems like the director did research on everything. Some directors, I would say, don't take the time to research. Like, maybe I don't want to say anybody in particular because that's really bad, but like, you can see in a movie sometimes where they don't take a history lesson on what's going on and how the mob would work a little bit, but they want to Americanize it, or something along the lines of that. And the director here took like a week history class on the mafia in New York, and then he put it on a screen, and it turned out this way, and it was fantastic. And you could see how much passion he put into it, because it is a 2 hour and 55-minute long movie, but it's so damn good. Who cares? So
Yeah,
I
it's an epic. Like,
yeah.
it's an epic in the same way like Lawrence of Arabia is an epic,
Hmm.
or Gangs of New York, or Titanic, or any of those kinds of films, because it is all encompassing. Yeah, yes, we do get a part 2, but like, you could just watch this movie by itself and it would make total sense.
Perfect. Hmm.
And and it is pretty much flawless
Yeah,
in its execution. But one of the things that I would want to start with, though, is like, this movie is shot perfectly.
it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Just pure. Even when he goes to Italy, and I don't know really any like Italy cities or what they look like except for like the big cities, but the rural Italy scenes, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it would look like back then, and that's really cool. And how it was shot, and like, even the way they're positioned when we already did spoilers, right? Um, when oh gosh, his wife in Italy, I forget
I
her
don't
name,
remember her name.
uh, Emilio or something. It's the way when she gets the car blown up on her, and how much of reaction that happens. The car bomb kind of scared me a little bit because I didn't know how loud it was gonna be. um, but it was just framed so well with the plants in the on the left side. I'm watching it on the left side, and the gate in the background, her honking the horn, and then him realizing it. Just a quick shot of him like, oh, don't, and then it happens. It's was fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, it's everything is just done so well. I think of like the part of the story. Obviously, we'll talk about Michael and his story in a minute, but
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
as he's starting to get more and more into the family, like the crime side, but obviously, like, he starts pushing away his wife, right? Like, his wife is taking a back seat, and that's shown visually as much as it is thematically.
Hmm.
There's a sequence when he gets a phone call and he goes into a telephone booth and just shuts her out, and like, the way that it's staged, like, he's shutting her out. Obviously, there's the last scene of the movie, which is so iconic, with them going in the office, and then they close the door and she is separated from him.
Yep.
Like, it is gorgeously done.
Mm.
Even to the part where, I'm blanking on his name right now. The big enforcer guy.
Oh.
Um, oh man, that's gonna kill me. Um, like, oh, to you on your daughter's wedding day. Not Barzini, Salazzo.
Yeah.
When no, is it Salazzo? Oh,
No.
Luca Brasi. Luca Brasi.
Razzi.
There you
Hmm.
go. When he goes to talk to the other crime heads, like, after he walks into the bar, the camera stays out in the hallway, and the glass that's in front of the bar has those etched fishes on it.
Hmm. Hmm.
which is a precursor. We know he's dead, like as
Yeah.
soon as that shot happens, and
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. It's perfectly shot. This like this, the only thing I will say is perfect about this movie is the cinematography, 100% from beginning to end. Even scenes that are just you would think wouldn't be that interesting, you would think are. Establishing shots are gorgeous. Just conversations
Of
are gorgeous.
when they're sitting at the table with the 5 families, they're
Yeah,
just talking, but it's shot like it's shot. I want to don't want to compare it because they're two different movies, but it looked like 12 Angry Men
hmm
in that aspect, with 5 people just sitting at a table, but you're so engrossed on what they're talking about. You're like, yeah, keep going. I want to know more. I want to know a little bit more, talk more. Even though nothing is going on, it's just them with dialogue.
100%. And one of the other examples I can use is the beginning of the movie. Everything that takes place in Don Corleone's office during the wedding is dark. It is more moody. It is shadowy. When you go out to the wedding, it's overblown. It's bright, right? It's a little bit more saturated. That's because everything that goes on with the mafia is shadowy. It's shady shit happening. And so the distinct visual quality that brings is it's paramount. It's so incredible.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous movie, and again, I wish I would have watched it sooner. And I wish, I don't know, maybe I wish I would have seen it in theaters too. It would have been fantastic
If it ever does a showing, we're gonna go see it in theaters because it is.
I would love to.
That way you're seeing it in one sitting too.
Yeah.
But also, like, that's not to say that the cinematography is the best part of this movie. The production design is also fantastic. Everything feels like it was during the time. The costumes are fantastic. The makeup is fantastic. Marlon Brando is not that old when this movie came out. They made him look that way. You know, everything works together to bring us into these locations, to bring us into this time period, and to show us the characters as Coppola and the filmmakers intended us to. And it's great.
The characters are great as well, because I thought I was going to get confused on who was what family and stuff like that. No, they were very you knew who Green was, you knew who Corleones were, who came with the Corleones, and all the families were so different but still the same, if that makes any sense, because of how drastic they were in looks and how they operated the business, which was really cool. But it was just so interesting on how every character, even though they're so different, they are still the same because of the mafia mentality, pretty much.
Yeah, it is fantastic, and the characters, again, like that is what really brings you into this movie. Like like the story works so well because the characters are so well written. You know, we should probably go into this now, but like Michael's character is the center point of this movie. Even though a lot of people would argue that Marlon Brando is the main character, I think it's Michael, because he will be in part 2 as well. And you know, his journey is what is so fascinating. How he goes from, like, you know, he's a family member in the fact that he has the same last name, same blood, or whatever you want to call it. But then he's not a part of the family. He doesn't do the crime stuff or anything, but he gets roped in, and it feels so relatable as someone who is just pushed to that point where it feels real, it feels grounded, it feels like it would happen to any of us. And the film doesn't let you miss anything important in that ascent to power. And that's what is so good.
And that's what's good, because at the beginning of the movie, he goes, yeah, this is my family, but I'm not at that side of the family. But then as the movie keeps going, he's going on that side of the family. Even though he probably doesn't like it, he knows it's going to happen. And you can see the realization throughout the whole movie. And even his wife sees it too. Even though she doesn't say anything, you can see her realizing that, oh, he's going to go to that dark side of the family, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, 100%. It's just absolutely flawlessly done.
The way he transitions too, it's not just like an immediate jump. It happens throughout that 2 hours and 55 minutes of just gradually getting more and more as a mafia does. He's like, oh yeah, I'll just do this. Oh, they attacked my dad. Oh, I got to step on my game a little bit more. And then it just keeps going up and up and up. And I actually can't wait for part 2 because now he is, so spoiler alert for this movie, but he is the Godfather now. So I want to see how ruthless he is, because people were saying how Sonny was very ruthless, but then Michael just comes in here and just steals the party pretty much of being a ruthless mobster. And I can't wait to see part 2 to see what does he simmer down or does he keep going with his actions.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fascinating because I haven't seen part 2 in so long either. And spoiler alert, it's what we're doing next week, but
Yep.
we'll talk about that again at the end. But yeah, it's just this continuing story, and it is so fascinating to watch. It is truly just fantastic. But also just the script itself is also brilliant. Obviously, it's based off a book by Mario Puzo. So Mario is the one who did most of the research, and obviously the script is just based off that. But obviously, there's a lot of visual stuff, right, that you don't pick up, in a book, and they do have to know what they're talking about with that. There is a series on Paramount Plus about the making of The Godfather. It's like a fictionalized recreation of what happened. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called The Offer. But yeah, like the script, everyone is performing it so well. There's a decent amount of improv in the movie, improvisation.
Oh, that's cool.
Like they know the line, but then they kind of like make it their own with how they feel the character should be, and it's really, really just like it's almost so good you can't tell.
Well, and that's what's good about good actors who can improv and make it look like it's supposed to be for that character, which is awesome to hear that. And it sounds like, I don't know if they were having fun in this movie, but they were having an enjoyable time trying to figure out the character that they are portraying.
Yeah, definitely. Like it must have been a blast coming up with how you wanted to play the character.
Oh yeah.
And like, and I think the script is also important because the movie doesn't have any dead time. Like there's always something important happening. It like the quietest moments are where I'm paying the most attention because I know something is going to go down there. Like, of course, the loud moments are great. There's a sequence in this movie that takes place during the baptism when Michael's clearing house, sort of. And there's one particular shot where I forget the character's name, but he is in like the lobby of like a room, and the elevator door opens, and then he raises up the shotgun and fires into the elevator.
Yeah,
that looks so real.
Yeah,
that it like it just sticks in my mind. But like those violent, loud moments are not the focus of the film. Nope. Like they're there to obviously to show the explosion of violence, to comment on masculinity or tradition or whatever, but the quiet moments are just the most fantastic. The beginning, the long take is just, absolutely iconic. It's so good. I'm just gonna keep like that's why it's kind of hard to talk about movies like this that are just bona fide masterpieces, because like it's just a lot of you saying it's so good, and there's people out there who have said it way better than we have.
Yeah, and I what I put in my my thing, my review, I said I want everyone to experience without any outside influence. So I thank you for loving us, but I want you to watch this without watching this first, because you might get spoiled and you might get I don't want to say influenced, but influenced by us to be like, oh, this is a masterpiece. But I want you to go experience this masterpiece instead of us talking about the masterpiece, because that's what this movie is. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, just plain and simple, cut and dry. It is a masterpiece. So, okay, and I think so. I think there's only so many different times we can say, "Oh man, it's so good." But Kevin, what's your final thoughts? What's your score? And let's wrap this one up.
Final thoughts. As Garrett said at the beginning of this episode, you can pause it and come back to this movie, and I highly suggest that if you have not watched this movie yet, because of how good of a masterpiece this movie is. The characters are amazing. The cinematography is amazing. There's no bad shots in this movie. The story is fantastic. The characters, you love them, you hate them, but they're in there and they're amazing. So I gave this movie 5 stars out of 5 stars, and it is 100% out of it is 100%. It's 100 out of 100.
There you go. And like I said, kind of throughout the entire thing, I think The Godfather is an American masterpiece. It really does stand the test of time. It is one of those movies that will, I think, be forever appreciated for just how goddamn good it is. And I mean, I do understand there's people out there who aren't going to like it. This movie is not for everyone by any means, but it is a movie that you should experience. You should watch it at least once in your life. It's one of those rare films where I feel like everyone should watch it. So you can see how it's done. And that's as simple as that. For me, it's one of the rare 100 out of 100s I've given in quite a while. I think the last 100 I gave was Harakiri on this very show, which is 100 out of 100 is 5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd for me. And it joins the prestigious 5-star film list. So there you go. So the question now falls to you. What do you think of The Godfather? We would love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another because, of course, this is the family, and we don't want to be respectful or disrespectful to one another. Next week, we'll be covering the further step into the Corleone family story with The Godfather Part 2. Very excited to talk about this one because a lot of people think it's better than the first. So we'll have to wait and see if that's true for us. But make sure to watch it before next week so you aren't spoiled. And again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us here at Real Watchers on YouTube and follow us everywhere you can at Real Watchers. We do have our weekly live stream, which now goes live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course, Movie Club goes live every Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, just in time for your morning commute, walk, journey, whatever you want to call it. But thank you again. Again, I know I keep saying it, but thank you again for watching and supporting us. And until next time, keep those eyes on the screen.